Welcome to Top Share channel. The top 15 worth watching movies about terrorism. Terrorism always brings haunted experience to the mankind. There have been many terrorist incidents that have been reproduced on the screen to help the audience have a more realistic view of these events. Through these films, viewers can see the brutality of the group of terrorists and leave extremely serious consequences and many lives lost. However, this is a fairly picky movie genre. If you really like and feel interested in this type of genre, do not miss the most worth watching movies about terrorism in our review post. Olympus Has Fallen, 2013. Olympus Has Fallen, or The Fall of the White House in Vietnamese, was an action movie revolving around the presidential kidnapping. It began when the president was kidnapped by a terrorist known as Always One Step Ahead of Everyone. After blocking all the entrances and making the White House his base, he began a campaign to destroy other important posts. Unexpectedly, Mike Banning, a senior security guard, was still fortunate to have survived that attack and succeeded in contacting the Defense Department. Immediately, the war experts of the United States gathered at the Pentagon to guide and monitor the campaign to rescue the president, which seemed almost impossible.
The Chinese, the British, and the French, and that only.
London Has Fallen, 2016. 2 years after a tragic event in an Islamic country, Mike Banning, Gerard Butler, and his wife Leah, Rhoda Mitchell, got back to Washington, D.C., eagerly awaited the birth of their first child. However, as an agent who protected President Aaron Eckhart, Banning was always ready to accept given missions. When the British Prime Minister died suddenly, Banning and Director of the Secret Service Lynn Jacobs, Angela Bassett, accompanied the President to the national funeral of the British Prime Minister at St. Paul's Church in London. With the attendance of most important world leaders, the funeral was a strictly guarded event. On the way to the funeral, however, the leaders of the many countries were assassinated and the key locations of London were attacked. Presidents Asher, Banning and Jacobs were ambushed and forced to retreat in the rain of fire bombs. The British capital was blocked down, all communications were cut off. Banning must make use of all his experience and skills to protect the safety of the president at any cost. Mumbai Hotel, 2018. Hotel Mumbai was a cinematic adaptation of the documentary Surviving Mumbai, 2009, based on a series of real terrorist events around more than 10 bomb attacks and shootings at hospitals, cinemas, beaches, international airports, train stations, restaurants and many hotels across Mumbai, India from November 26 to 29, 2008, which killed more than 170 people. The scene took place in the luxury Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, which had witnessed the life and dead moment of nearly 2,000 tourists and service staff.
Rampaging through the city. Taj. With as many as 1,000 guests and over 500 staff trapped inside.
Wherever we can. Many of you have families at home.
Yes, we all are. But to get through this, we must stick together.
Munich, 2005. The 1972 Munich Olympics was through one of the worst attacks in world sports history. The Palestinian terrorist group Black September kidnapped 11 Israeli soldiers to demand the release of 234 Palestinian prisoners. After the terrorist incident, 11 athletes, 1 German police officer and 5 terrorists died. Munich, 2005, was inspired by George Jonas's Vengeance, Revenge, a historical fiction about the Israeli government's secret retaliation attacks following the 1972 Munich Olympics massacre. The film was directed by Steven Spielberg, Eric Bana, Daniel Craig, Marie-José Croze. The acting was criticized by both Palestine and Israel but received the 78th Oscar nominations, including the Best Film and the Best Director nominations. World Trade Center, 2006. Also in the year 2006, there was another movie based on the terrorist incident of September 11th was World Trade Center, directed by Oliver Stone. The film was made under the perspective of John McLaughlin and William J. Gimino, two firefighters who were once trapped in the ruins of the WTC Twin Towers. From their position as rescuers, they became victims of this incident. Only the desire to live could help them return to their loved ones. Air Force One, 1997. The film was about the event that the plane of the United States president was suddenly attacked by hijackers. The president was immediately escorted into the lifeboat and left the jet, but his wife and daughter and his 50 entourages became hostages to terrorists. It was at the moment when all the hope seemed to have disappeared, the terrorists were suddenly defeated one by one. A mysterious character was trying to rescue the jet. Who was that mysterious character? Would the president accept negotiations with the terrorists when the lives of his wife and children in their hands? "90 Minutes of Terror", 2013. Yoon Young-hwa was originally a television commentator, but for many reasons, he had to do another job. One day, while he was hosting a familiar radio program, an anonymous person called the program and announced that he would demolish the Mapo Bridge. At first, everyone thought it was a joke, but Yoon Young-hwa quickly realized it was a real danger. From where he was working, the bridge could be seen, and shortly after, a terrible disaster occurred. Just then, Yoon Young-hwa realized the chance for his popularity had come and he decided to make a heated commentary on live broadcast. White House Down, 2013. Mr. Kale, who worked for Police Department of the Washington, was with her young daughter visiting the White House during the weekend. Surprisingly, the tour of the world's most powerful house became a nightmare when the US President's house became a terrorist target. Kale lost her daughter in the rubble. He decided to run into the sea of fire to find his beloved daughter, along with an unexpected colleague, President Sawyer, who was extremely angry at the attack and determined to get revenge the terrorists.
Sorry, cause I have Gotta stick that thing out there and go to work. Damn right. They've taken the building and they're holding hostages, including my daughter.
Help is not.
The International, 2009. The film was the story of Interpol employee Louis Salinger and counselor Manhattan Eleanor Whitman. Both were trying to restore justice by exposing one of the most powerful banks in the world. Discovering the bank's illegal activities, including money laundering, arms trade and creating destabilize for the government, Salinger and Whitman were caught up in a cross-city investigation from Berlin to Milan, New York, and Istanbul. They found themselves in a dangerous race brought on by their stubborn character, as this banking organization would not give up any tricks, including murder, to stay in the game of terrorist operations and war.
Proceed. Send a message. There has to be.
Black Friday, 2004. The film recreated the bombing scene of the Mumbai city, India on March 12, 1993, in revenge for a 1992 sabotage of a Muslim mosque by Hindu extremists. The incident killed 300 people and injured more than 1,500 others. Black Friday became Bollywood's rare terrorist work to make a splash and was inspired by director Danny Boyle in 2008 to make Slumdog Millionaire. Zero Dark 30, 2012. Zero Dark 30 recreates the process of tracking down Al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden during a decade of U.S. Special Forces in Pakistan through the perspective and activities of a female CIA analyst, Jessica Chastain, who was considered as the core of the campaign. Because of the government's permission to use materials from the CIA itself, the details in the film was very close to reality and helped Zero Dark 30 to win countless prestigious film awards.
Ailing.
You will never find him. He is one of the disappeared ones.
The Kingdom, 2007. Based on a real event, on May 12, 2003, a suicide bombing occurred at the American settlement in Riyadh, killed 35 people and injured more than 160 people, all of them were innocent civilians. Determined to catch the masterminds, the US government sent a team of FBI agents to Saudi Arabia to investigate the case. When the masterminds were not just a small group but a giant terrorist organization, Al-Qaeda and the Muslim world hated Americans for what the US government had been doing in this Middle East. Mine, 2016. In the middle of the desert, in an area filled with 33 million explosives scattered everywhere, Marine Sergeant Mike Stevens was given task with identifying and destroying the leader of a terrorist organization. After 3 months and 6 days in the desert, a single moment of hesitation was enough to shatter the whole mission, and now Sergeant Stevens was alone in guerrilla territory, and to make matters worse, his left leg stepped on an activated mine. Having to resist the harsh environment, without food and water, the sergeant must remain in that position and used his trained Marine skills, maneuverability and patience to wait for the next 52 hours. Until an escort came to his location. Surrounding by the heat of the day and the cold of the night, if Sergeant Stevens wanted to survive, he must contend not only the supreme forces of nature but also the greatest enemy of all, himself.
Passing by your location in about 52 hours.
With all due respect.
United 93, 2006. United 93 was the assumption that the incident took place on Flight 93 during the September 11 attacks in the United States. On September 11, 2001, Flight 93 United Airlines, USA, crashed into the fields of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. All 37 passengers, 7 crew members, 4 hijackers were killed. This was the only aircraft out of 4 aircraft captured by the hijackers who failed to strike the target according to the intentions of the terrorists. No one knew exactly what happened on UA-93. United 93 was an assumption made by director Paul Greengrass and his associates based on records, archived information about passengers, crew, tapes of the final communication moments of the flight, to recreate historical September 11 incident. In the movie, the passenger and pilot bravely fought off the hijackers to gain control of the plane to the last minute. On the one hand, United 93 was criticized for incorrectly reflecting on Sept 11 and touching the pain of relatives of the victims. On the other hand, it touched the audience and became a memorial flower giving to the courage of ordinary people.
I am on a plane that has been hijacked.
Yes, sir. I got F-16s turning and burning towards Washington.
2 aircraft hit the World Trade Center. Just left New York. The weather was beautiful.
We have a plane headed toward the Capitol.
What the hell is wrong out there?
May we engage, sir?
If we just sit here and do nothing.
Mission Cashmere, 2000. The film told about the life and tragedy of a young boy named Altaf Khan, Kritik Roshan, after his whole family was accidentally killed by the police. He was adopted by a police chief, and unexpectedly learned that the man who had killed his whole family was the one who adopted him. He tried to revenge and became a terrorist. The film was made to give a message for people about the terrorism and tragedy of children who suffered from war. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.